Good morning. Welcome back to Making a Difference. I'm Smith, your facilitator. And I just want to start off by saying I'm glad, I'm just grateful to have once again an opportunity to speak to you, young man, young woman out there. And perhaps I'm speaking to an adult who never really got the opportunity to live out your childhood because of responsibilities that were given to you, weights that were placed on you, poor choices that were laid in front of you, bad or poor role models that stood before you, options that were in your midst that you felt no other choice existed. This is for you also to let you know that you do matter as well. While these videos initially are designed for young men and young women, both in the city in which I live, but they're also for you, young man or woman, who'll be watching these videos in other cities, perhaps in any other country. You have a story to tell. You have fears. You have struggles. You have heartaches, hardships. You have confusion. You have discontent. You have bad feelings towards others. Maybe some who've hurt you, misguided you, misled you, manipulated you, deceived you, whether in your family, friendships, or what you felt were friendships, whether it was gang involvement, people who manipulated you into trafficking you, sexual exploitation, adult men or women who have exploited you in a sexual way, offering false concern, cash, in any dollar amount, teaching you or trying to teach you to keep things silent, don't say anything, secret, confidential, or pretending to care for you. These videos are for you. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist. I am, thankfully, human. I'm not a robot. I've experienced similar things in my life, and I just want for all of you, any of you who watch these videos, and may you take just, even if it's one little thing from it, warn your kids, kids, your grandkids, teach your kids, take time today to hug them, tell them that you love them, listen to them. Many of us have had no one listening to us. The moment something goes wrong, the moment they're in trouble, the moment they've tried to hurt themselves, whether it's through cutting, drug use, any form of self-harm, drugs, alcohol, hanging with the wrong crowd, in and out of jails or juvenile detention centers, whatever the situation may be, I wonder how much of it can we trace back to us not listening. Young man, young woman, you need somebody to listen to you. Do you have someone in your life who listens to you? Are they listening to gain information to use against you, to manipulate you with, to deceive you, to gain some sort of insight or knowledge into how you're thinking so that they can find some sort of weakness in your life, which is not a weakness, but rather it's you being vulnerable, opening up yourself, adults, parents, social workers, youth workers, case workers, whatever you are, whatever field you work in, do you use these two things that we've been given? Do you listen? Do you know how to listen? Do you understand the importance of listening? Why should we listen to you, young man or young woman? What do you have to say? Does it matter? Does it make sense? Should I listen even though I'm the adult? Or should you rather instead be listening to me? That's the attitude that a lot of us have as adults. A lot of us have that attitude as parents. We use phrases like, because I said so, because I am the parent, because you need to listen. I don't need to listen. You're not my mother. You're not my father. I know these words all too well. Why? I've used them. I've been guilty of it. I've even used them with young men and women that I've worked with in my career. And so, young woman, young man, I apologize to you first and foremost for those of us who failed to listen. Do you need us to listen today? Do you need to share your heart, your mind? Why should others listen to you? What will they gain? What will they learn? What will we come to know? Are we listening? This video is going to focus on that. And while we may not touch on all relevant or most important aspects regarding listening, we are going to learn how. We are going to consider, have we been listening? When it comes to listening, I think of a quote from Maya Angelou that goes, people will forget the things that you've done that are good. They will even forget the good you've done. But they will never forget how you made them feel. Listening to someone gives you clarity. It gives you a deeper insight. It helps you to understand. You cannot listen to someone while, and young man, young woman, has that happened to you? Does that happen to you a lot? People who are in your life, in your circle, maybe people you even hang with, can they really recall what you've said to them a week ago, a month ago, a day ago? What about a minute ago? Have you ever had someone, while you're talking to them, they're, yeah, really? Yeah, well, when it comes to listening, young man, young woman, do you need us to simply shut up? Well, I agree with that. As a father, as a grandfather, as a neighbor, co-parent, whatever we are, men and women, what does it mean to listen? Why should we listen to young men and women? I'll give you several other reasons. One, listening to someone helps move you out of the equation because it's not about you. If you're listening to someone, young man or young woman, if I'm listening to you, I need to remember that it's not about me. You're not looking for my input about me. If you're talking to me and you're sharing with me and trusting me to listen, then that's exactly what I need to do. Secondly, listening requires that I, as the one who's listening, actually focus on you and look at you and remove all distractions. Some of us are so not interested in what other people have to say. That's why we're all over the place, because it shows a lack of interest. Thirdly, when it comes to listening, I need to be able to relay to you what you've said simply because I need you to understand, and I want to make clear I understand what you've said. And then I need to gather again, were you referring to this or did you mean this? So that I don't make my own conclusions, come up with my own meaning of what you're saying. So listening requires that I understand it's not about me, that I pay attention physically, that I'm able to repeat to you what you've said as a reminder because what you've said matters. And fourthly, if there is such a word, I need to be able to seek out clarity about what you've said, because I could interpret anything you said in my own way. You could tell me I'm frustrated. Well, to me, frustration might mean you're angry. But that's not what you were saying, young man or young woman. And a lot of times, your emotions, what you guys have said, young ladies and young men, whatever race you are, even as young people, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, it's so easy as an adult, as the authority figure, the one in control, to feel or assume or even think that we have the right to disregard or just push aside what you've said. What you say matters, and you should be heard, and we should seek to better understand you. A fifth reason why it's important for us to listen to you, young man or young woman, is because it gives us the wonderful opportunity to respond differently to you. If I know what's going on in your heart, if I've heard you and you're saying same things over and over and over again, that's a confirmation for me that you really do love or like these things. I remember one time I had gotten some calls from some teachers from one of my kids, one of my sons, who's I'm very proud of all of my kids, everything that they've done. That's good, of course, and I'm sure they with me. But one of my sons would get in trouble, and he would just do things that I didn't quite understand why he would do those things. I never taught him to do that. He never saw these particular things displayed in the home or whatever. And so one day he came home and I grabbed him by his shirt and said, "What do you want? What is wrong with you? What are you doing?" And my son looked me in the face and he said, "I need you." And somehow, young lady, young man, adults who are watching, parents who are watching, I had failed my son. I don't know how long I had failed him. In fact, I never asked. But somehow I wasn't listening. Are you listening today to your child, to your student, to the trainee who you're teaching something? Are you listening to your nephew, to your niece? Grandpa, are you listening to your grandson? Or do you think it's all about playing? Grandma, are you listening to your granddaughter or grandson? Are you considering one or two over the other one? Because if there's 4 of them, if there's 3 of them, if there's 2 of them, well, they both need equal attention. Mom, single dad, married mom. White woman, black woman, Hispanic woman, Asian woman, Indian woman. Christian, one who professes to know God. I don't care what you profess to be. If you claim Muslim, if you claim Buddhism, Hinduism, whatever it is what you're reading, what you're practicing, places where you go and profess to worship or bow down or pray or call on or out to someone or something or both? Do they teach you to listen? Because if you're not using these, which they were meant to do, and not just to the things around us, more importantly, to the people with us, do you listen? Are you listening today? So young man or young woman, I know you need that. I know you need someone to listen to you. A sixth thing that I've learned, and I know for a fact that you, young person, you need when it comes to listening, is silence. There's nothing like getting a clearer picture of what a person is really dealing with, what they're going through, until we listen. Do you need someone to listen today? It might be you adult who's listening. You need someone in the relationship that you're in with, whether it's a marital, a dating. Maybe you need your child to listen. Young person, are you listening to your parents? Are you being obedient? Are you listening to your friends who are encouraging you to do wrong? Are you listening to rappers on TV? Are you listening to Snapchat or Instagram, but you don't listen to your parents? Are you listening to people who are cutting school, but the teachers are trying to keep you in school? You're ignoring. Are you listening to the one who professes to be a father, a friend, or family, but puts a gun in your hand to go kill someone for them, hurt someone for them, because they're your enemy, they're your op? Are you listening to what you're saying? Because young person, sometimes you all say the craziest things that make no sense. In fact, sometimes you, like us as adults, say things that you need to really be silenced about. It makes no sense that you would even say such a thing. And so at those moments, you shouldn't be listened to because it makes no sense. So with that, the seventh thing that reason why we should be listening to you, young man or young woman, is so that we could actually be able to prepare or share with you some correction. We've lived longer. We are adults for a reason. We don't always make the best decisions as parents, as men and women, whatever the situation. And that's not an excuse or a crutch we should use to throw in your face. But we should have something to tell you to help you make better choices. Help you with your story. Help you with the things you're dealing with. Help you to protect you. Help you to guide you. Help you to teach you so that you learn something. Just like we can learn something when we listen to you. What is your story today, young person? What are you thinking about? Who are you hanging with? What do you want to say? What do you need us to know? Are you calling out? Are you crying out, both inside and outside? Are your tears held back because no one will listen? Do your tears speak for you? Are you behaving in a certain way because others won't listen? Well, stay tuned to my next video. Are you listening? Part 2.